flight of two F-16s from the United States Air Force. 500-pound bomb.
I want to keep you updated on some flash news. Al Jazeera Television has aired.
We're going to talk about my first, I guess, real experience with death. I think it was the second or third day that I had arrived in Iraq, and we were doing a dismounted patrol in a neighborhood in Mosul called Jadeda, or Al Jadeda, and it was a neighborhood that gave us a lot of problems in the past. A lot of drive-by shootings there. We'd done a lot of raids in the neighborhood, and there was a lot of money in the neighborhood. A lot of the guys that were there weren't necessarily directly involved in attacks, but they would finance attacks. There's a lot of problems like that, and we'd have a lot of drive-bys and stuff like that in the neighborhood. And we had just dismounted the strikers, and we started doing a dismounted patrol. And not even 2 minutes after the ramps dropped and we had gotten orders from our lieutenant to go ahead and start clearing houses, shots rang out. It was pretty apparent that it was a drive-by. I don't know exactly where the firing was coming from, but it was several bursts from an AK-47, and they were really close. You know when you're getting shot at because it's that distinct snap noise that the bullets make when they're really close. It's a sound you'll never forget. But the bullets were coming in pretty close, and we ended up getting into a house, and we got up on the roof, and we were trying to figure out where the fire was coming from. And I looked down into the street, and I saw this little boy, and he was carrying another little boy, and he was running from house to house trying to get in through a doorway, and people were just slamming their doors, and they wouldn't let him in. And I looked out on the street, and I yelled at the little boy to come to the building that we were in. So I ran downstairs with one of my team leaders, and this little boy came into the carport there, and he was carrying his little friend who had just gotten shot in the head. And I remember the lady, the owner of the house, was very upset with us because, the little boy was bleeding in her driveway, and she didn't want blood in her driveway. She was upset about that. This little boy couldn't have been more than 12 years old. And I remember I called Doc. I said, "Doc, you got to get over here. We got a little kid that's got shot." And Doc came and saw the little boy. The bullet had gone in one side of his head and come straight out the other side. His brains were coming out. Doc knew right off the bat that there wasn't anything he could do about it, and I think I knew that too. I just, I don't think that fact had caught up with me quite yet. So our lieutenant said, "Hey, look, we got to continue our mission. We can't take the little boy to the hospital. You need to flag a car down and have somebody taken to the hospital." So I grabbed the little boy, and I carried him down to this main road. I took a couple guys for security, and I stopped the first car that I saw, which happened to be a taxi cab. And the man was very upset. He didn't want to take the little boy to the hospital, and I was so angry. I was grabbing everything in his car and just throwing it out in the street to make room for the little boy. And he didn't want to do it, so I put my weapon in the man's face, and I said, "If you don't take this little boy to the hospital, I will find you and I will kill you." So he did. He took the little boy. Once everything was said and done, we went back to the fob that evening, and I remember, looking at my uniform, and this little boy's brains were still all over my flak jacket, and it just hit me at that point, just how ruthless and how just chaotic things are, And I have a little boy who's probably about the same age. And that really hit me hard. That was my first close encounter with seeing somebody die. None of us fired a single shot that day. He just got caught in the middle of some guys doing a drive-by on us, and wrong place at the wrong time. I think about that day all the time. I don't think it's something that just goes away.